This is WJHS, a throwback to the late 90s, something we haven't done in a little bit. Well, we did it last year, but it's always fun to have coaches in studio. Would you gentlemen be so kind to introduce yourselves? And as our guests wander in, it's early, so we'll have them introduce ourselves. Would you like to go first?
Sure. Ryan Trishman, Columbia City High School.
And you've been coaching now for track as well as middle school.
So I coach high school track, the boys head track coach, and I coach 7th grade middle school football. It's been like 15 years now that I've held various roles in both of those sports.
You've had a heck of a season too, especially with track, some standouts, a couple of students in my room. So we'll maybe get into that in a little bit. My name's Jordan Glaza. I actually run the media program, the audio video department here at Columbia City High School, where we have the pleasure of filming with the students. They manage a lot of the YouTube videos that go out. And of course, we broadcast a lot of the games as well. And we have another guest in studio. Would you be so kind to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Mike Cotter. I coach the girls soccer team.
Rock and roll. I want to say first and foremost, thank you guys for being in the studio today. I think this is something fun, not only historic to this radio station, the Coach's Corner is what we're calling it, just getting together to talk shop. It's so common that you guys maybe would never interact as coaches in the real world, but you probably see what each other do and you have good questions. And so in many ways, often during season, you're focused on the team, you're focused on what's happening. I like to be able to see and recognize, for those of you who enjoy the sports in and around Columbia City, whether that's soccer, track and field, basketball, football, that you get a little insight. This is really for the community to let them know kind of where our coaches are and what we're up to, and maybe, things that we know about each other, to get a more deeper understanding of Columbia City athletics and the teams that we have. I don't have a team, but I do have the crew that runs and films all of the games. I have some amazing seniors. We were talking earlier about our graduating seniors. Where are you guys when it comes to the evolution of your freshman to senior distribution, knowing that your seniors are going to graduate here? Does that factor into your decision making for coaching, for staff like that, et cetera, et cetera?
It certainly does. Preseason planning part, at least.
Okay.
We just typical of a year. We had 5 seniors, and the biggest thing that we're losing is the leadership of those 5. Whether it be the mother hen on the team or the leader by play, silent leader, or the one that
the play starter.
The play starter, or the one that gets in a girl's face, and motivates. But I look at those and see those girls leaving. They pass the baton, to use a track term there.
Sure.
To a junior or a sophomore even, to step up and fill those roles in the future. So,
is it officially done? What do you see, Ryan?
For us, we graduated a great senior class last year. That'll be hard to replace.
Record breaking.
Broke 4 school records. And so, it's hard to replace kids like that, but we've always had I took over the program 6 years ago. I've got great assistant coaches. And our mindset is the next man up. Like, I don't care if, you were the second string or third string guy. It's like, I want you to step up. And so I really asked my seniors to embrace that leadership role, because this is their team. I think this year we're going to have about 90 kids on the track team. We had like 80 something last year. I think we'll have about the same amount, and like 3 coaches can't be everywhere at once. And so I need my seniors to step up and take over that role of leadership. And so far in these 6 years, they've done a pretty nice job of answering those calls. But what I really, really enjoy seeing, and Mike probably sees this too, is the kids see how hard those guys work ahead of them and what the expectation is. And so then the next group of kids know what the expectation is, and then they're going to bring it and encourage everybody else to keep that going. So they're leading by example and through their effort, and they can see, if you trust the system, we talk a lot about trust. If you trust what we're doing and trust the process, we can put you in positions that you're going to be successful on the track and field. And I think that's played out pretty well for us so far.
So let me ask you this question. Do the captains, the players, do they pick themselves, or are they pushed into that position, or do they grow into it before they're made official? They get the C put on their jersey where they're selected for you guys.
So for us, there's no real captain moniker, I guess. Just because, like, you know, there's 16 events in track and field, so you're spread out all over the place.
Okay.
You do have kids that'll take a more vocal stance as far as like where they want to be at with the team. Last year, the seniors wanted to call a meeting about a week or 2 weeks before our conference meet, and they're like, they wanted a no coaches meeting, and it's like, okay. I mean, things where we were having a good season, and, you know, it's like, I think they wanted to emphasize and bring home the point that, hey, we want to finish this.
Why do you take
job.
ownership?
Right. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, you want to talk to them? Fine. I'll walk out, you know, and, you know, they go out and they beat the competition by 30 or 40 points in our conference meet. So it's like, whatever he said must have worked. I should have bottled it
It's
up.
ownership right there.
And so
at first, you know, as an adult, you're like, what? And then as a coach, you're like, you know what? They're over there doing their thing.
18 years old, you know, 19, some of them, like, they're going to leave here and they're going to be leaders.
Same question for your team. Are the captains grown? Are they selected, or do they start and then naturally progress themselves, filling something that they see as a need?
So yeah, and that's on our team at least. This past season, we had four captains. We had 2 seniors, a junior, and a sophomore. Those captains are voted on by the players.
Okay.
My philosophy on a captain is they're team captains. You guys are the team. You select your captains. That's the liaison or the conduit between team and coach, and also team and officials during a match. But those girls are natural. They have that. They have that in them already. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't. I'd love to be able to take a kid and say, do this, and do this, and they, you know, they grasp all that all at once. But I can't take credit for their leadership style or skill, or the way that they
progress. Yeah,
you know, progress and attract the attention of the other athletes. You know, to touch on something that Ryan said, you know, there's no better thing I can hear at practice than, hey, we don't do that here, from one of my girls. To another girl.
Yeah.
You know, that means our philosophy, our program's mentality is taking care of itself. So my job's actually gotten easier over the last 5 or 6 years.
Because this one's doing that?
Because they pass it on to each other.
So I am not a coach. However, we do have a crew that films the game, that puts the broadcast on the signals. And I've found that certain students learn better from a peer than me. I've seen, frustratingly, I'll tell them something, share it with them, show them example, walk them through it, and in one ear, out the other. But you sit them down with a friend of theirs seems to always be extremely helpful, that they communicate better with them, and they don't use the right words, they don't use the right terms, they barely get the action right. But at the end, that student who's in the learning process absorbs it way better. I don't think I'm a scary person, but I think it's just certain individuals, they absorb from each other better between their peers. And so coaching from that aspect for myself, fascinated by that some students, you know, here in the classroom, they read and they understand. Some students, they read and it confuses them. Some students, they need an example, they get hands-on, all of a sudden it's in their brain. Some students, I can walk them through it verbally. It's interesting. So I imagine as a player, it'd be no different. Yeah, it's physically action that ultimately that makes them athletes. I don't know. It's interesting. Change of gears, guys. So we've talked about captains coming up. We've talked about team leaders. Let's get into your coaching strategy a little bit, change that around, and you can answer this however you want. What is changing on your team for yourself, evolving wise? 15 years, you said, as a coach, 7 years with Columbia City as a coach. What is evolving in your game? What is, as a spectator, that I might not know? I'm giving you a chance to brag, Ryan. Giving you what is behind the scenes that you're focusing on right now?
First and foremost, for us, is culture. When I was given the opportunity to take over this program 6 years ago, right off the bat, I wanted to change the culture of the program. And so do the things I felt that were necessary or right in order to progress it to where it needs to be. And, part of that is, having the right coaching staff involved.
Sure.
Coach Goree and I have been together 6-7 years. I knew his daughter when she was here. She did track and field and played multiple sports. Coach Madison, who's the former cross country coach, him and I have been together the whole time. So both at the middle school and the high school, we've been together 15 years. And so once you have people that you work really well with, and every year I'm kind of like, well, this might be my last year for football, right? And so at the middle school.
And then they talk you into it
right,
again.
And then, but the people I work with, when you are on the same page as, and maybe this is the same for Mike, because your assistant coach you've been with for a long time.
For a few years,
yeah. So like when you're with the same people, right, and you're all on the same page, and it just makes it easy. It makes it easy to establish a culture. And once you've established that culture, right, then you want to hang on to that.
It's maintenance.
And keep it going, and don't let things interfere with what your culture is. Other things, our distance kids take basically 2 weeks off a year, right? And they're running all the time. I'm encouraging, as many kids to play multiple sports as possible. I want multi-sport athletes. I just don't want a kid that's like, oh, this is all I'm going to focus on is track and field. No, I want you playing other sports because it's going to make you a better athlete overall. And so, our season starts in February, ends in, if we make it to the state finals in June. And so we, after spring break, we're like 2 meets a week. And so just trying to get opportunities for kids to get out there. The last 4 years, I think I've had 16 athletes receive a scholarship for track and field. So that's exciting. I should have brought my paper with me. 22 academic all-state in the last 6 years.
We'll look it up later. We'll down everything that you say.
But 59 all conference awards, and so it's really kind of cool. We show up to a meet, and the big guys, the big players in Northern Indiana are going, man, we really noticed the improvements you made. And that's just validating, right?
Yeah.
It means like all the hours and the hard work and all that stuff that you put in, you're being noticed. And that's what's fun about it. It's not a me mentality. It's a we, you're doing this for your teammates, and that's a big part, is trying to teach these young men how to be men. Right? Because there's so many distractions out in the world. Like if I can do my little part in making these guys better, so that way they're good fathers and husbands and workers and all that stuff, then I feel like I've done a good job.
And the
with
right
that.
mentality helps coaching in that.
Right.
And it's not necessarily that the culture was bad. It just wasn't what you imagined when you first took over.
Yeah.
7 years, 8 years ago now.
This would be 7th season or 6th season. I don't remember. But
a lot of work up front.
It's like, we're going to work hard. And first thing, it's like, we're going to compete in everything we do. You want competition because that's going to make you better. If I'm, I don't want this. Well, he's my friend, so I'm not going to go hard. No, I want you to bury him and make him,
and then
to make
next
him
time,
better.
make him sharper.
Right.
That's good.
Sharper. Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Cotter, what's evolving in you in and around the team, your team, not necessarily yourself specifically?
Yeah, for in the same type of thing as track too. Culture is the most important part of our program, and we base our culture on discipline. From watching Bobby Knight and Judd Heathcote and Bo Schembechler and those guys, where discipline was a heavy hand. My football coaches, hockey coaches, whatever in high school were pretty intense, rough guys, so and I came in to coach girls that same way. So that mentality of the brashness of the discipline,
Right.
it has definitely changed. Kids aren't. Some kids don't respond well to that. So the fact that the culture is better on the team, my part of the discipline process has lessened, and the discipline is administered by the players. They hold each other to a higher standard, hold each other accountable for taking a play off or not giving 100% in practice, that kind of thing. So that process of instilling discipline is probably the biggest change since I've started. Not to say there's time. Not
Right. You don't have to swing in.
Hear my voice from that field echoing off the building here, because that does still happen. But that's probably been the biggest change.
So we talked about something previous to being on air. Being a former coach, former soccer player myself, referee for a little while there, I wasn't good at it. I noticed you run the 2-4-4 formation. So that's 2 strikers up front playing close to the opposition's goal.
Sure.
4 midfielders across the middle and 4 defenders across the back closest to our goalkeeper. You said that you've changed things around. You're running a diamond in the back, so instead of a straight line going across, foosball style, that you've changed the tactics a little bit. And this was last year that you put this in place?
Yes.
Okay, and you said specifically that you don't enjoy having the sweeper, which is the last man standing before the goalkeeper. What was your decision in that thinking? Just to enjoy the sport a little bit more. Why do certain coaches do what they do? That's this question. Why are you doing it this way now?
Sure. And the change is personnel oriented.
Personnel oriented. Okay.
So you have to. Sorry about that.
There you go.
You have to accommodate the players, their style more. And next year we may end up playing with 5 in the middle and 1 at the top. We switched to that diamond. We were able to, in the offensive half, we're able to push 8 people in. So we have positive numbers then in the offensive side. Keep 2 back on the midfield stripe and then play 8, try and play possession up and through the middle third into the offensive.
And just control it in that half, knowing that opportunities will occur from that. They have to naturally with things moving around. That's a lot of offense, especially in the modern day defensive packed. Hey, we're just preventing scoring. A lot of teams, a lot of games you'll see end 0-0, not because they have 9 defenders. When the evolution of the game in the last 100 years or so, you get in your history and stuff like that. It's been interesting how in the aspect of football, like West Coast has evolved into short outs and coaching tactics and different formations and things like that. In this game, the option of playing defensively or offensively, just where you have your players positioned at the start of the game and where they kind of naturally would, this is their area of control. That is not extreme when it comes to offense, but definitely more forward, putting 9 into the opposition half of a team of 11. Kind of interesting. How have your results been? Do you keep time possession wise, percentage over percentage? Are you maintaining control 50% of the game?
That's the beauty of our athletic department providing us with the huddle.
Yep.
They track that for us. So yes, our possession is typically above 50% for a match.
Okay.
Now our first touch isn't the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but once we get possession of the ball, we're pretty good at keeping it. We won 12. We were 12-5-1 this past season, which did tie a school record for wins in a season. So the results of that possession were pretty good. We gave a couple matches away by not finishing or that kind of thing. It's
a game of margins. It's a game of margins and weird opportunities. If you're watching the World Cup, I don't know, the U.S. had, a point taken away from a standpoint of like, offsides, through
6 inches.
6 inches.
Right.
Really? No, it's a field of how many feet? Come on. Yeah, a little riled up there after the fact. Individually, you say, okay, what and you don't have to mention names or hear anything like that, but what was the decision to go 2-4-4? So 2 strikers, 4 midfielders, 4 defense, and now you're looking at 5 midfielders next year. Is it speed? Is it mentality? Is it the way they play? The old youth organization AYSO soccer term is bumblebee soccer, where this kid will chase the ball no matter what, might as well create a position for it. What is your shift in position there?
And there is part of that. I do have a girl that you put a ball out there, she's going to go get it, no matter what. What dictates that is
I was that player, just to clarify.
Sure.
Just to clarify.
Our athleticism overall
it
has increased. If I can get the girls to play 5 in the middle, that makes it very difficult for the opposition to get the ball past midfield. And if we can control the middle third, we're going to win the match.
Okay.
So playing the stronger teams that are more club oriented, we're very much a blue collar soccer team. We've got a few club players, but we're playing against, like Leo or Dwenger or somebody.
You guys keep it in-house.
They're all club players, that come play for their school. We're all school players that some of us do go play club.
So you get comfortable. The players know this team member's always in front of them. They have certain styles. They have certain patterns that they follow, how they get around defenders, et cetera, where they're most likely to break to. So your team has the familiarity, you could say, whereas club teams, they get familiar with strategies, not necessarily individuals. Club teams can be way less intimate, way less friendly.
Yeah, we do have a greater team dynamic, I think, than those teams.
I hear some of the nicknames. That's what I'll say. I'll hear some of the nicknames.
Yeah,
hey, Slowpoke.
There's some of that going around. But yeah, I have a great group of girls. They play hard. They have a good mentality. A physical mentality where they're going to go throw it around and they don't care who's in the way. It's not it's very much a contact sport where they're going to knock some girls around and
part of the game, part of the game,
and we promote that, and the girls themselves promote that. So it's good, and we change those formations to accommodate their style of play.
Okay. Change of gears, guys. As we're winding down with Coach's Corner here, we're definitely going to have you guys back in mid-season updates. I'm looking forward to it very much. Even one-on-one, Ryan, you've been in here a couple of times. Of course, Mr. Crowder, glad to have you in studio. Let me ask you this. Okay, if we know it's too early for the students to be listening right now, if we air this before school, who are we? What event are we looking for? What's something specific? Is there a position we should watch out for this year? What event, what meet are we particularly looking to as a fan? Am I looking at the winger? Is pole vaulting going to be our bag of beans this year? What comes to mind, guys, is take off your coach's hat for a second and put on your fan's hat. Where's the excitement going to come from this time around for us? I want to know what I should be bragging on for. Oh, have you seen Columbia City's blah blah blah? Yeah. What do we want to get into?
It's going to be the top half of our formation for us. We're gonna, next season we're gonna score some goals.
Okay,
it should be fun to watch.
Okay, so moving 5 players up at the midfield to support those 2. Your job is to shoot the ball strikers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna score some goals.
Okay.
So,
I think people are going to be surprised of how the young guns do. That's what I call the younger guys on the team, as far as moving into all those distance spots that we graduated last year. I mean, I'm trying to think, 5 guys from our distance crew went on or running in college, in cross country and track. So we graduated a lot of talent there. I think they're going to be, anybody watch football this fall saw the, a couple sprinters that are on our football team. They're going to show up and just going to show what all this hard work they've been doing on the football field and in the weight room, and then it's going to come out on the track, right?
I see your students push themselves.
I mean, I was keeping the numbers there for a while because I was posting on Twitter, but it was something ridiculous. track and field scored like, kids that do track and field and football scored like
all the points,
30 something touchdowns, right?
That's great.
And so, there's a connection there with the weight room. I think overall, with our new facilities and all that stuff, I think Columbia City's on the rise in a lot of different sports, and you're seeing it. And you're seeing like a lot of these kids that are multi-sport athletes that are just, just really promoting our athletic department. It's really fun to watch. I like the fact that we can get on. I love Twitter for the fact that you can support other teams by hitting the like button and all that stuff, and it's fun to see. Like we don't talk hardly at all, right? Because we don't ever see each other. Right. Paths don't cross, but I can see like, hey, the girls are having a good season. I can like every time they post something. I can keep involved in that, and that's fun about it. So I think just in general.
Definitely the conversation could continue.
Right.
I look forward to picking this up another day. You guys, of course, are welcome back. We'll perhaps have to have you in individually. If not you, a member of your team, please do send them in just to keep the community updated. Marcus is coming to mind. Midfielder Morgan. Midfielder Megan. I'm trying to remember the double M.
Yep.
Send them in. They've been in around the studio. They know where it is. I think that'll be fun. This has been Coach's Corner on WJHS 91.5. Just a little, I guess you could say, Coach's Chat, giving you insight into Columbia City athletics on WJHS 91.5. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.